Welcome back to Yehoshua's Gematria Time Daf Yomi Shiur, where in the end time, or when in the end time, I might say. When in the end time? Where in the end time? When in the end time? Okay. When in the end time, it's always a great time to learn Gematria, to learn the Daf Yomi in Gematria time. 101b of Chullin, top of the page, Rabbi Yossi Aglili Les Le Yisr Kol. Oh yes, Gematria time, speaking of Gematria time, these are the words for 101b. Okay? Very famous, My Taima. What is the reason? Has a numerical value of 171. It does show up on this Amud. And then also another very well-known word, Tarvaihu. Tarvaihu means both of them, or the two of them, and it equals 637. And there's one more that was very, very well known. I wanted to add it. Let me see what it is. Yes, Ushnehen Mikra Echad Darshu. It's also pretty common, and it means, and both of them learn it out. They derive it from one verse. And that has a numerical value of 1285. 1285. Ushnehen Mikra Echad Darshu. That is at the bottom of our Amud. Okay, so at the top, we're starting with Rabbi Yossi Aglili Les Le Yisr Kol. And the Gemara asks, does Rabbi Yossi Aglili does he not hold that a more inclusive prohibition takes effect when there is an already existing prohibition? That Isser Chalal Isser, that you could do that. It seems that. Okay, V'atanya, Shabbos v'Yom Kippurim, Shabbos v'Yom Kippurim, Shagag v'asa malacha, minayin shechayv al zeh v'yatzmo v'al zeh v'yatzmo, Talmud Lomar. Here it comes up again. We had Talmud Lomar. We had that actually on the previous topic. And it just reminded me, Talmud Lomar, that's how common it is. But it's 756. See, that's the good point of doing this Gematria, that if you follow along, you'll start to see that these numbers come up again. Do you remember what 756 equals? Zerach Yisroel. Zerach Yisroel. It also is Gematria Machshavot. Machshavot, which means thoughts. Do you like thoughts? Machshavot. Rabot Machshavot Belev Ish. V'yatzat Hashem itakum. Okay. Let's continue. Talmud Lomar. Shabbos hi, Yom Kippurim hu. Shabbos hi, Yom Kippurim hu. Divrei Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Rabbi Kiva Omer, Eino Chayv El Achas. Rabbi Kiva says, Isser Chalal Isser, and it's only one. But isn't it taught in Braita when Shabbos and Yom Kippur occur on the same day? If one acted unwittingly and performed prohibited labor, from where is it derived that he's liable for this and for this by itself and that by itself? That if Shabbos and Yom Kippur are on the same day, then a person is chayav for Shabbos and for Yom Kippur. If he did it by mistake, he is liable to bring two sin offerings for having transgressed both Shabbat and Yom Kippur. The verse states, "You shall do no manner of work. It is a Shabbat for the Lord in all your dwellings." Okay, Leviticus 23, verse 3. And another verse it says, it is Yom Kippur. Leviticus 23, verse 27. The term "it is" in each verse teaches that each of these days is considered independently, even when it occurs together with another holy day. This is the statement of Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Rabbi Akiva says he is liable to bring only one sin offering because a prohibition does not take effect where another prohibition already exists. Shalach Ravin Mishum Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina. Kach Hatzah Shel Mishnah. Ve'efoch. The Gemara answers that on this topic, Ravin sent a letter citing a statement in the name of Rabbi Yossi, son of Rabbi Chanina. This is the correct presentation of this teaching, meaning the opinions in this Braita are accurate. But one must reverse the attributions of each opinion so that the first opinion is that of Rabbi Akiva and the second opinion is that of Rabbi Yossi HaGlili. Consequently, Rabbi Yossi HaGlili holds that two prohibitions do not take effect at the same time, even if one is more inclusive or stringent than the other. Shalach Rabbi Yitzchak bar Yaakov bar Giore Mishum Rabbi Yochanan L'Devrei Rabbi Yossi HaGlili Lemai De'afachan Shagag b'Shabbos ve'hezid b'Yom Kippurim Chayav Hezid b'Shabbos v'Shagag b'Yom Kippurim Potter. The Gemara continues to discuss the opinion of Rabbi Yossi HaGlili. Rav Yitzchak bar Yaakov bar Giore sent a letter citing a statement in the name of Rabbi Yochanan according to the statement of Rabbi Yossi HaGlili. As stated in the Braita, once the attributions have been reversed, if one unwittingly performed a forbidden labor on a Yom Kippur that occurred on a Shabbat, he is obligated to bring one sin offering. If he acted unwittingly with regard to the fact that it was Shabbat, meaning he forgot that it was Shabbat, but acted intentionally with regard to Yom Kippur, he is obligated to bring a sin offering. But if he acted intentionally with regard to Shabbat, but unwittingly with regard to Yom Kippur, he is exempt from bringing any offering. My time, there's that word. What's the reason? Do you remember what the number was? I do. I'll give you a hint. It starts with 100. 100 is the first number. 171. You got it. My time, what's the reason that equals 171? My time, Amar Abaye, Shabbos Kavir V'Kaima, Yom Kippurim Beidina Dekaboyle. The Gemara asks, what is the reason for Rabbi Yochanan's statement? Abaye said, Shabbat is established and permanent, meaning it always occurs on the seventh day of the week, whereas in the case of Yom Kippur, it is the court that establishes it, as the sages determine the new moon. Consequently, Shabbat is considered to have preceded Yom Kippur, and the prohibition to perform labor on Yom Kippur does not apply, due to the fact that labor is already prohibited because it is Shabbat. Since one brings a sin offering only due to unwitting transgression, he is obligated to bring a sin offering only if he performed labor without realizing it was Shabbat. Amar le Rava soif tarvayu. There's that word tarvayu. There's our word. Do you remember what tarvayu was? I'll give you a hint. It starts at the 600. 637. You got it. The Amart. Okay, sof Amar le Rava sof meaning in the end, ultimately tarvayu bahadi hadadi ka'atu, or tarvayu bahadi hadadi ka'asu. Rava said to buy ultimately both of them, meaning Shabbat and Yom Kippur, come into effect at the same time, since both take effect at the beginning of the calendar day. It cannot be said that Shabbat precedes Yom Kippur. Rather, Ella Amar Rava, Rava said, Shemada Hava Ushlachu Mitam the Yom de Kippurina Eshat Shabtahu V'chein Ki Asaravim Nuchol Nechote Amru Akrava. Since both take effect at the same time, right? Rather, Rava said a different explanation. It was a time of religious persecution, and they sent from there, meaning from Eretz Yisrael, a directive stating that Yom Kippur of this year will not be observed on its proper day, but rather on Shabbat. Rather, Rabbi Yochanan was merely stating that on that particular year, one who would unwittingly transgress Yom Kippur would be exempt from bringing a sin offering. And similarly, when Ravin and all of those who descended from Eretz Yisrael came to Babylonia, they said that the true explanation is in accordance to the opinion of Rava. Amar Rabbi Yehuda v'halo mibnei Yaakov. Okay, the Mishnah teaches Rabbi Yehuda said an explanation wasn't the sciatic nerve forbidden to the children of Jacob, as it is written, therefore the children of Israel eat not the sciatic nerve. Genesis 32:33. Yet the meat of a non-kosher animal is still permitted to them. Since the sciatic nerve of non-kosher animals became forbidden at the time, it remains forbidden now. Tanya, it is taught in Brisa Amrulo Rabbi Yehuda v'chi nemar al ken lo yochlu b'nei Yaakov ve'alo lo nemar ela b'nei Yisrael v'lo nikru b'nei Yisrael ad Sinai ela b'Sinai nemar ela shenikta b'mkomo leida me'ezeh tam ne'asar lehem. It is taught in a Braita that the rabbi said to Rabbi Yehuda, but it is stated in the verse, therefore the children of Jacob do not eat the sciatic nerve. Eat the sciatic nerve? Isn't it true that it stated only that? Therefore the children of Israel do not eat the sciatic nerve. And the Jewish people were not called the children of Israel until they received the Torah at Mount Sinai. Rather, this terminology indicates that the prohibition of eating the sciatic nerve was stated to the Jewish people at Sinai, but was written in its place after the incident of Jacob wrestling with the angel to allow the Jewish people to know the reason the sciatic nerve was forbidden to them. Since the prohibition came into effect only at Sinai, there is no proof that it ever applied with regard to non-kosher animals. I wonder why the sciatic nerve is different then. That was the one that was written in Bereshis and out of order, that we should know the reason. Why not all the other bunch of other mitzvahs that were? Rava raised an objection to this Braisa. The verse states, and Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the children of Israel carried Jacob their father and their little ones and their wives in the wagons that Pharaoh had sent to carry them. Genesis 46:5. This occurred before the Torah was given at Sinai, and therefore proves that the title, the children of Israel, was in use before the Torah was given. The Gemara answers, nevertheless, this occurred after that incident, after Jacob wrestled with the angel, and after the prophetic vision, which God changed Jacob's name to Israel. But still, it was before Sinai. You said before Sinai. You said not before Sinai. It's still before Sinai. Okay. Genesis 35:10. Amar le Ravacha b'nei Ravashi ma'ishat ditzar. Ravacha, the son of Rava, said to Ravashi, in that case, the sciatic nerve should be understood as having become forbidden to them from that time when they were first called the children of Israel. Since this was before the giving of the Torah, this would be in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda and not that of the rabbis. Amar le v'chi Torah pamayim nitna, hahu shata lav shata ma'aseh have v'lo shas matzin Torah have. Ravashi said to him, was the Torah given piecemeal on numerous occasions? No, it was given at Sinai. Rather, that time when the title "Children of Israel" was first used was not the time when the incident of Jacob wrestling with the angel occurred, and also was not the time of the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai. Therefore, there is no reason to assume that the prohibition took effect at that time. Tanu Rabbanon Amar Minachai Noheg Behema Chayav Oif Bein Tamein Bein Toirin. Rabbi Yehuda v'Rabbi Elazar the Mishnah taught a dispute between Rabbi Yehuda and the rabbis with regard to the prohibition of eating the sciatic nerve. The Gemara now cites a similar dispute between them with regard to eating a limb from a living animal. The sages taught in Braita the prohibition of eating a limb from a living animal applies whether the limb comes from a domesticated animal, an undomesticated animal, or a bird, and whether it is from a non-kosher species or from a kosher species. This is the statement of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Elazar. But the rabbis say the prohibition of eating a limb from a living animal applies only to a limb from a kosher species. Amar Rabbi Yochanan u'shnehem mikra echad darshu. There's that word. We had it. Do you remember the number? U'shnehem mikra echad darshu. 1285. And that is Ushneim Mikra Echad Darshu Rak Hazak Libilti Achal Hadam Ki Adam Hu Nefesh. We had that in last week's parsha. Alright. Rabbi Yochanan says in both of them, meaning the rabbis as well as Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Elazar, derive their opinions from one verse: only be steadfast in not eating the blood, for the blood is the life.